I was wondering if you wouldn't mind talking a little bit about your time management strategies.
Sure. So Paul Graham has something called a maker manager schedule, and it basically divides your day and how you think, or how you divide your week. So one of the things that I have found is I don't schedule calls just willy-nilly on Mondays, and I try not to do anything on calls until at least Tuesday. And then I have found, as I'm evolving through COVID, that I really, I normally space out calls, and I think that becomes part of this, the maker schedule gets all out of whack. The manager schedule is much more defined and what is going on, and that deep thinking for the maker, because I make these calls so spaced, I don't have enough time to do that deep work. So I've adjusted that to do calls more in a row, 1, 2, 3, so that the time chunks to be the maker works. And so I'm still refining it, but I actually was doing this without seeing this article, and a friend posted it on LinkedIn, and I read it and I was like, wow, I do this. And so that's just been really helpful to know that, the Monday is just, let's get deep work done and stuff like that.
So I think that was so interesting when you mentioned that. And I actually read through the article, and what I thought was really interesting is this notion that when you do have a day where you have several calls in, even if it's like one at 10, one at, maybe 11:30, one at 2:30, the windows that you have in between, really aren't sufficient enough to be like, okay, now I'm going to work on our go-to-market strategy, or now I'm going to work on drafting a blog. You kind of get halfway done with things. So this idea of really carving out huge chunks of time to just be productive and be focused on output, and then other days where you're kind of working on facilitating other types of business like outreach meetings, deal flow, et cetera, I think does make a lot of sense. Have you found that it really helps your productivity?
Yeah, absolutely. Being able to know that Monday I don't book meetings, and now I have started, what I was doing before was making meetings, and I was giving a little bit of time in between, but it wasn't enough time. So this maker manager schedule from Paul Graham has really, been eye-opening. I was doing something like that. And then a friend of mine posted something on LinkedIn about the article that he had written. And I was like, wow, I'm already doing that. And so a couple of the changes I've made, I don't book any calls until Tuesdays. And when I do book calls, I book them more on top of each other now, so that I have those wider windows of being able to get real work done, and not just having like 20 minutes here and 35 minutes there, which has been really helpful.
Yeah, that is great. I actually have tried to mirror that a little bit. It's just hard sometimes when everybody, wants to speak to you to really carve out that time, but it does really help. So let's talk a little bit. I'm just wondering if you have a marketing hack that you want to throw out for our listeners, since that's your area of expertise, if there's some that you think are really beneficial for businesses.
Yeah, so I have been using Fiverr for a new company that I am launching with a co-founder, and I have found that super beneficial in terms of finding quality people and being able to go through and using that platform. So that's been helpful with a very small budget. And so that would be my hack, that, doing your homework and making sure you have somebody that's got great recommendations and that aligns with what you need. That would be my hack.
So for people who don't know what Fiverr is, can you describe it and also spell it so people know where to go?
Sure. It's Fiverr, F like Frank, IVERR, so 2 R's at the end. And it's basically a platform where people put their services on. It started as, for $5, I can do this. And it's expanded into, being able to, for X amount, I can do this, for X amount, I can do this. And there's usually 2 or 3 different options. So I think it was about $140, and we got an entire logo package, which, not to say that you can't get one from somebody that is charging a lot more, but for people on a budget, I think it's definitely the way to go. So it's just an online platform where people from all over the world are offering their services.